I was absolutely delighted to be contacted by my old school music teacher in England, and he'd become friends with Purewa Weaver, historian, who is married into the Weaver family, and that's how we came to investigate the story of Helen, who came out here in the late 19th century. Cora in England, as a musician and historian, had done a lot of research into the family and discovered that Helen, here behind me, was betrothed. She was the fiancé of Sir Edward Elgar.
Elgar was 25 years old when he fell in love with Helen. Both were young and passionate musicians, part of Worcester, England's vibrant music-making community. For when Helen went to study at the Leipzig Conservatory, Elgar followed soon after. They were engaged there in 1883.
Elgar talks about her to his early friend, Dr. Charles Buck. And he talks about her as his Braut, which is the German word which means bride, girlfriend, recent wife, or just girl.
So what went wrong? All we know for certain is that soon the composer spoke of profound sadness, writing to his best friend that I have not the heart to speak to anyone, and that Helen was en route to New Zealand. The reason given for Helen's departure was that she suffered from tuberculosis. She would have been one of thousands of Britons who immigrated to New Zealand in the late 19th century in hope of a cure. Apparently it worked, for Helen lived an active life in Auckland for 5 years, frequently listed as a musician in local concerts. In 1890 she met and married a successful banker, John Munro. They had 2 children, Kenneth and Joyce, and by all accounts prospered. And what of Elgar? He too married, and with the active support of his wife Alice, he developed his talent as a composer. His great breakout composition was the Enigma Variations, first performed in 1899. Its variations carry dedications to his friends, except for the 13th, which is simply marked by 3 stars and the designation romanza, romance. Its music tells a story of love and a sea voyage, with the timpani rhythmically struck by 2 coins.
Churchill, 1965.
And if you play on the timpani with these 2 coins, it produces the sound of the old engine of the ship, and the poignancy of that, together with this lovely water music, the clarinet melody, and all that it must have stood for in Elgar's mind, saying goodbye to a great love as she went off on this long voyage to New Zealand.
But it was in later life that Helen re-entered Elgar's world. Her son Kenneth fought at Gallipoli, where he was wounded and shipped to London to convalesce. After Kenneth recovered, he was dispatched to the Western Front, where he was killed in July of 1916. Elgar took the news hard and over the next few days became deeply depressed. He was admitted to hospital to recover, and it was there that he penned the first bars of his cello concerto.
At the very end of his life, he suddenly started telling his oldest friend about this girl. This girl he'd had to give up, who'd gone to New Zealand. She mattered to him all his life long. And here is one of her children, dying. And he's suddenly having to imagine a mother's grief. And suddenly I realized the cello concerto was not at all a simple proposition.
a piece of music not only as an old man looking back on his career and having to face getting older and getting closer to dying and all of that trauma and what that brings, but at a whole generation of lost British society that was never to be again.
There is no indication that Helen was aware of any of this. After Kenneth was killed, her daughter Joyce died of tuberculosis in Auckland in 1921. Helen's husband John died in 1925, and Helen passed away in 1927. For a century, Helen Weaver Munro rested in Purewa Cemetery, her grave unmarked.
It was so sad for Cora when she came here. She did a lot of research into her sort of ancestry, her husband's ancestry, and discovered that this grave here behind me, there was no mention of Helen, the mother of Joyce and Kenneth, and the widow of John. Like a lot of these lovely old graves in Purewa, it was showing its age, and it was, mouldy like many of the other surrounding ones. And this is a very sad story, which I'm delighted, really, we've managed to kind of rectify things and get Helen's name on the grave. That seems very important. So it's an enormous privilege to have been involved, but also I feel it's setting things to rights after nearly 100 years.